Because we're always looking for something different, something new. And it all happened at IAPA, one of our trade shows, where I got a really small room. I'd say it's about 6 by 8, with Walter Bollinger. And I said, Walter, I know what you have in your portfolio, what you've been trying to sell us for years. But really, what's new? What's new? What do you have? Yeah. And he said, there's this concept. It's a winged coaster. And we put it in Gardaland in Italy. And I said, well, how did it do? He said, people love it. And the downtime, how was it? He says, non-existent. So I called Merlin after that, followed up. He's right. The wing coaster is a new way to think about roller coasters, and I think you really nailed it. So, what are you thinking about when you come up with this stuff? And he says, well, I'm gonna botch this up. And he says, well, when I'm in the airplane, I'm in the compartment in there. I look outside and I really want to be out on the wing. That's where I really want to be. And I said, well, then you have to come up with a whole new restraint on this, right? This can't be a simple belt. So he's thinking about being out on that wing, and that's the whole concept behind the wing coaster is, instead of being over the track or under the track and getting those motions, you're way out here. So all those rotational forces are amplified when you get out there. And you have to think about that as you're designing the roller coaster and what all of those sensations are going to deliver to everybody. And I think that's what you're going to love about it, is it's so different than everything else. Other than that, I mean, you've seen it all. You know, it's nothing below you, nothing above you. So it's going to be really liberating to be out on that, to be out on the wing coaster. So we were thinking about this, and we're in the meeting, and I said, I'm with Richard Zimmerman, our COO, and Phil Bender, our Executive Vice President, Vehicles Operations as well. And I said, I was wanting to build a coaster over the front gate, and I blurted it out, almost like Red Ryder Gun, you know, from Christmas Story. I just felt like a kid. I said, I want to get over the front gate. And they're looking at me, and I said, look, this is the opportunity to say, Cedar Point is the greatest amusement park in the world. Welcome to Cedar Point. And get a flyover effect right over the front gate. And I was just thinking about that, and Walter said something like, yeah, we could do a rollover. I'm like, yeah, and it's like being at the Super Bowl. You finish the Star Spangled Banner, and the military flies over, and the hair stands up in the back of your neck, and it's like, yes, that's the moment that we want. I'm not sure if we're going to deliver that, but I'm telling you, this is exciting for me to see this thing come together. So, you know, a little bit more about Walter and that relationship. It's really tight. We work with the manufacturers. I feel so blessed because he's so accessible, and the way they think about things is just brilliant. And I can just pick up the phone and say, I've got a really, really dumb idea, but if you can make it work, you know, I'd really appreciate your thoughts on this. So we have that kind of relationship just back and forth. And the next element we're going to see is the keyhole structures up at the front, the towers, the front football towers. And this element that we want to walk, you know, roll through, it's been done, you know, to get through an aperture like that. But what we thought about was trying to make that part of the architecture. So it is the gate. Not only are you flying into the gate, you're flying through the gate. That's where you give up the ticket to come in. And that's where these towers are really holding up the roof, too. So what we're trying to accomplish there is, with Walter, is where's it going to be? What's that position? And when you design these roller coasters, you got to be thinking about every inch. You know, where is that train going to be? How's it going to be supported? What's that dynamic motion that he's trying to make so seamless and fluid? And then how we're going to make this work. So it started out, when you get out there, you've seen all the images and everything. When you get out there, you're going to see the big white columns that he uses to hold up the track. And that's what he had. That's what he started with. It was just a big frame. He needs to hold the track there, 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 and there as you're flying over the top. And we were thinking about, well, how do we integrate that into the architecture? So we started to design an enclosure around it. And if you can imagine, we have to inspect those rides every day. We visually inspect the rides. We check the torque stripe on the bolt. We look for cracks. We look for problems. And we want to get on it right away. If something starts to occur that we didn't expect, we got to be on it. Well, you couldn't. If I enclosed it in these building structures, you'd have to get into catwalks and ladders and be inside of it and lights, and it would just be miserable in July. So we thought about it, and we got back with Walter, and I said, Walter, here's my dumb idea. Can we make it work, please? Can you build the towers and make them look like this and your tower would in fact hold up the track. And he said, let me think about that. And he thought about it, and about 50,000 hours of labor later, he built these things in Claremont County. If you've seen that tour, PointBuzz, you can check it out. And he did such a great job. So he really solved a problem for us to make it easier for us to do our jobs, and I think the result, which you'll see in a minute, is spectacular. So, what else do you want to know about wing coasters, or questions, or the trains themselves?
Did you guys run into any obstacles unforeseen?